Hello, this is Séamus Boyce with Kroger, Gardis, and Regis. We have the pleasure today to share with you some information about Indiana Department of Child Services and their prevention services. Something that that I personally have learned much more about in the last year, and feel like folks in the field would really benefit from knowing more about it. So we also have a school leader on with us, and myself and my colleague David Clendenning will be providing some commentary and some questions along the way. David, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes. Good morning. David Clendenning, Superintendent of Franklin Community Schools, and I'm part of the team that kind of looks at early childhood and trying to help support those young kids in schools and through the KGR Study Council, and look forward to today's presentation.
We got several folks from the Department of Child Services. First off, Valerie Morales.
Hi, yes, I'm Valerie Morales, and I am the Community-Based Child Abuse and Prevention Grant Coordinator for our Prevention Services team in DCS.
And we have Ashley Purdue.
Hello, I'm Ashley Purdue. I'm the Prevention Supervisor here on the Prevention team, and I support the Healthy Families program in the My Healthy Baby project.
Willie Taylor.
Greetings, my name is Willie Taylor. I'm a prevention coordinator, and I focus on child protective programming, as well as the youth service bureaus throughout the state of Indiana.
And Spencer Ryan.
Hey, Spencer Ryan, I'm a prevention coordinator. I deal with invoices and contracts for health and departments and our administrative contracts.
Very good. So with that, I will turn it over to my colleagues with DCS.
All right, thank you, Séamus, for giving us the opportunity to present on behalf of the Department of Child Services Prevention Services. My name is Willie Taylor, and first I'll be presenting on the Youth Services Bureaus, the Safe Place Project, as well as the Family Resource Centers, along with the Community Partners for Child Safety. Next slide, please. First, we're going to talk about the community-based programming with the Youth Services Bureaus. Please note that there are 26 youth service bureaus throughout Indiana, serving 74 counties out of the 92 counties. Our youth service bureaus offer a variety of programs aimed at the prevention of delinquent behavior based on the following core roles. Delinquency prevention, which is basically we want to keep youth out of the criminal justice system. Advocacy, we want to support, represent, and protect youth. Community education, we want to educate, raise awareness about the healthy development of youth. And finally, information and referrals. We want to share information and referrals that help young people. Next slide, please. The goals of the program include, but are not limited to, we want to keep the youth out of the criminal justice system, as I said, help young people develop life skills. We want to support academic progress, establish an effective relationship with a caring adult, for example, mentoring programs, and we want to also improve life and family circumstances of young people. And to learn more about YSB local locations and services, you can hit the website that's actually on the PowerPoint. The next.
Willie, do you mind if I ask a question?
Not at all.
What's the age range of the children or other factors that are sort of the target for that program?
For that program, we're looking at youth under age 24. So if you're under age 24, for example, even those who are in college, if you want to benefit from a youth service program you are eligible to do so.
If you're a school leader, a principal, a superintendent, even a school counselor, what's a good way to refer a child to that program?
The best way to get in touch with the Youth Service Bureau is through their website at indysb.org.
Thank you.
All right, the next program I'd like to talk about is Project Safe Place. And Project Safe Place has been available for young people since 1987. There are 16 safe places in Indiana that cover 27 counties. And primarily what Safe Place does is they provide access to immediate help and the safety for youth at risk of abuse, neglect, or serious family problems. So for example, if something happens in the household and the youth needs immediate assistance, what they could do is look for that Safe Place sign that you see on the PowerPoint there. And if they see that Safe Place sign, they can go to that area and actually receive professional safe place help assistance, which is primarily to connect youth to resources to help them address those issues. And there's a link for nationalsafeplace.org where you can find more information about our Safe Place programming. Next slide, please.
Hey, Willie, on the Safe Place programming,
Yes.
When you look at getting schools and those partnerships, how does a school or a school leader go about connecting their school district in to become a safe place?
Well, to get involved with Safe Place, you want to go to their website, which is nationalsafeplace.org, or you can go to the indysb.org, which is the Youth Services Bureau. Safe Place and the Indiana Youth Services Bureaus are both operated under the Indiana Youth Association. So you would be able to go to the Indiana Youth Services Association and get information for both the Safe Place Project and the YSB programs.
And all this information can be found on our DCS prevention page at dcs.in.gov/prevention. Sorry.
All right, thank you. Okay, and the next program we want to talk about is a community-based program, which is our Family Resource Centers. You'll see FRCs throughout the state of Indiana. We currently have FRCs in Madison, Grant, Tipton, and Delaware counties. We just opened 2 more FRCs in Wayne County and LaPorte County with a goal of opening FRCs in Tippecanoe, Elkhart, and Clark County by the end of the year. The goals of the FRC are to support families to be strong, healthy, and successful, which leads to contributing to building a strong and healthy community, which ultimately reduces the likelihood of child abuse and neglect. Next slide, please.
Willie, on those, I will save my question. You may answer it on this slide.
Okay, yes, sir. The definition of an FRC is simply put, it's a one-stop shop. It's a safe place for kids and families to go to receive concrete support such as school supplies, diapers, and in a lot of cases, food. It's a place where families can get social connections, connect to resources and other needed services. It's a place where families can develop goals and seek help without the stigma or any involvement with the child welfare or legal system. It's a place where we want to normalize asking for help. So you'll see a slogan connected with our FRCs that say kids don't come with instructions. That's simply to help families understand that we all need help with raising kids at some point or another, and there's nothing wrong with getting some help. Next slide, please.
I think, Willie, on
Yes.
if you wouldn't mind going back to slide 7.
Yes.
In the examples that you included that are in the hypothetical, or I'm sorry, in the parentheticals. So you see Firefly, Bauer, Scan, Ireland, Geminis. But can you explain what those are?
Yes.
For the audience?
I sure will. If we can go to slide 10, I'll go ahead and get into that for you.
Okay.
All right. And finally, our home-based program is the Community Partners for Child Safety, which include the Firefly Children and Family Alliance, Geminis, Bauer Family Resources, SCAN, which is an acronym for Stop Child Abuse and Neglect, and Ireland Home-Based Services. These are the 5 providers that the Department of Child Services Prevention Services use as a community partner for child safety. Next slide, please. And within our CPCS service delivery and prevention strategy, we like to have flexible funding. 70% of the funding is allocated for direct service to families, while 30% is determined by Regional Services Council as far as how the money is allocated. Our target population for CPCS is any adult with children not involved in the child welfare system, or any adult or family that's not eligible for HFI, which is our Healthy Families Indiana program. And you'll hear a little bit more about that later. And please note, as of January 2023, our CPCS providers can provide services for prenatal families. We use evidence-based models and provide concrete assistance. Next slide, please. Within our CPCS programming, the services that I offer include but are not limited to home visitation, staff help families develop self-centered goals and family-centered goals. We connect them with local community services. Our providers also provide service coordination, information and referrals, in-home case management, and just provides a basic advocacy for the family. During the federal fiscal year of 2022, the top needs identified were for families were rent and utilities, information on budgeting, subsidized housing, counseling, and help with child behavior.
Willie, you might get into this later, but on the counseling and the access to behavioral health treatment, what does that look like, and how those service providers help the families?
What our service providers do is they provide the connection for those services, and they don't provide those actual services. And if Valerie wants to jump in and provide a better explanation, she certainly can.
So the first thing that they do when they meet the family is they do an assessment of the family's needs. So there's 2 types of assessments that they do. And one of them is it's called our North Carolina assessment of needs. And so it's to gather all the needs of the family. So their strengths and their needs, a full assessment. And then they can kind of look at that from there to decide what this family will work best for them. In front of you on the screen, you have a list of the parenting education. These are curriculums that are evidence-based that they are trained in and can provide with the parents to help them. So based off of that scale that they did, they want to see which of these curriculums fit the family. And they are trained in providing these curriculums. And then as far as providing therapies, that would kind of depend on the agency. Some of them do have therapists that they do pay in-house and they are on staff and can work with the family. But if they don't have any in-house, then they do refer them out to a therapist for the family or for the child, depending on what the needs assessment is. And what they do is they build a goal plan with the family, and that helps because this is a voluntary service, so that will help with the engagement of the family as well. And so they do, include what was identified on the referral, and let the family know this is why you were referred to us. Are there any other goals that you want to include in this as well and work together on?
Thanks.
All right. Thank you, Valerie. Next slide, please. And for our community partner providers, the best way to refer is we have a map of providers, and those providers are 5 that serve the 18 regions throughout the state of Indiana. And to make a referral, I would always suggest that you look at the map and you just put in any Google search or any search, Indiana provider referral map, and that'll give you that actual map that you see on the PowerPoint that will allow you to make those referrals. And you can do self-referrals, refer other families, other parties, or other target children. So please feel free to use that website and that community providers map as you see fit. Thank you.
You
And
can also access this map on our DCS prevention page as well.
yeah, and in conclusion of this portion of the presentation, just want to point out that the Department of Child Services also has a hotline to report child abuse and neglect that you'll also see on the PowerPoint. And please remember that it is a responsibility of all of us to report child abuse and neglect when it's present. From this point, I'll turn it over to my colleague, Ashley Purdue, who'll tell you more about Healthy Families Indiana and the My Healthy Baby program.
Yeah, so we're going to stick with kind of the in-home services, and I'll start with My Healthy Baby. This is more of a referral program that connects families to already existing home visiting programs. It was created in 2019 as a response to the rising infant mortality rate in Indiana. The governor's goal was to be the best in the Midwest, which meant that we needed to save 200 babies here in the state. So My Healthy Baby is a partnership between three agencies of the state: the Department of Health, DCS, and Family and Social Services Administration. And it's to connect new or expecting mothers to home visiting programs in the state that were already established here. So My Healthy Baby works as a referral system, like I said, for those already existing home programs. NFP, Healthy Families, and Early Head Start are the major programs that it refers to, but there's also some like local programs depending on the area that are included in My Healthy Baby referrals as well. And they receive, so My Healthy Baby receives the referral and then sends it over to the Department of Health's Mom's Helpline. And then a call support specialist will reach out to the family and determine their interest in participating in one of the programs. And if the family agrees to a referral, then they'll connect based on an algorithm to whichever program fits the best for them. And then they'll also follow up with the family to make sure that that connection is made. So it's just kind of like a centralized referral program for those, mainly those three major Early Head Start, Healthy Families, and Nurse Family Partnership. Families can refer themselves, or someone can make a referral for them. We have a landing page. It's myhealthybabyindiana.com, and they can make a referral straight from there. There's also FAQs about the different home visiting programs, and there's really great videos. If you have, you know, expectant moms that are struggling, or pregnant and parenting youth who might be able to be referred to this program, and they're just kind of on the fence, there's really good videos on here about what home visiting is and what support that they can receive. And we also recently added community partners, or CPCS, to this referral system as well, just in case there's like a capacity issue with one of the home visiting programs. So that way families are still getting connected to something, and then they'll refer back to either My Healthy Baby or Healthy Families.
You have the resume?
And then this is the QR code for partners to refer to. So this wouldn't be for families to refer themselves, but for like school staff or counselors or whoever to make a referral for a family. So that's a nice benefit. And so now I'm going to talk about healthy families. So this is the DCS prevention home visiting program.
Ashley, before you jump there, can I ask one question about the algorithm?
Yeah.
That connects people up. So is that a self-assessment that the person would do, or is that the referring partner that knows that person? How does that all work together to get the right agency involved?
So basically each program has different qualifications. And so there is, like, nurse family partnership can only work with first-time moms before 28 weeks. So that could be a lot of, like, if you have pregnant or parenting teenagers and it's early in the pregnancy and you want to get them connected, they're probably going to get connected to nurse family partnership because if it's their first baby. And then everybody else kind of gets split up evenly between healthy families or early Head Start, depending on capacity, or some other local home visiting programs. So really it's by what the home visiting program requires for enrollment. So
thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, so healthy families, this model came to Indiana. We'll be celebrating 30 years next year. So it's been around for quite a while. It's pretty established. And we are unique in that we are the only state to have a healthy families program in every county. So we're the only state system to have that. Other states have a pretty large system, but they don't have it in every single area. So we're excited to be kind of ahead in that. So healthy families eligibility, they can work with families either prenatal or postnatal prior to what we call the target child reaching 3 months of age. So they have to be referred and enrolled prior to those 3 months. And they also have to screen positive on an 8-item screen. It's the questions that are asked are a lot of people will qualify based on that 8-item screen. And then they also have to score a 10 or higher on the Healthy Families Assessment, which we call the FROG. It's the Family Resilience and Opportunities for Growth Scale. And the 8-item screen is very much kind of based on the FROG scale to kind of get an idea of what families would screen positive and who wouldn't. It asks about risk factors or a lot of like criteria around ACEs. So it asks about substance use or mental health issues, any previous child welfare history, ideas about parenting and development of a child. So if a parent doesn't have like a really good idea about what is developmentally appropriate based on the age of the child, then they're going to score higher. It also asks about discipline, and you get a pretty high score if you identify that you would use physical discipline in that area. So most people screen positive, at least from my experience. And then there could be additional criteria that's needed based on funding sources. We do utilize a lot of different funding sources, including TANF and McVie funding. We have to verify the parent-child relationship at birth for the focus child for specific funding, and but we can also provide like services to other caregivers as well. It doesn't have to be mom. So we've had situations where grandma is taking care of baby for whatever reason and just needs extra support. You know, families look a lot different. So it just kind of depends on the situation, but as long as they qualify for the services with the frog, then that's something we can provide to them. And we also don't require any sort of income eligibility for any referrals coming from My Healthy Baby. So if the referral comes through that partnership, then everybody gets sent over for a screen and an assessment. So some of the goals in our target population. So our target population is pregnant women in the 3rd trimester or within 2 weeks after birth. That's like our ideal target range of when we want to be involved. But obviously we get involved a lot sooner, or like I said, up until that 3 months of age. Services continue until age 3, but some can continue until the child's 5th birthday. And some of our referral partners are WIC, health clinics, hospitals, DCS, or My Healthy Baby. And we engage with families that have multiple stressors. We really focus on parent-child relationships and strengthening that bond. And we also, our family support specialists also like assess development. So we do ASQs. There's like some required ASQs that we do, and then we also do there's extra screenings that they can do as well. And then we provide staff training for all of that. There's the Healthy Families America model is what this is based off of, and you can get a lot more information from their website. We also have more information on our DCS prevention website. But if you want to learn more about the Healthy Families model in general, then you can visit the Healthy Families America website and get that information.
Ashley, what's an ASQ?
So that's a developmental screening. We do that. I believe the required ones are 9 months, 12 months, and 18 months. And it's just to kind of assess where the child is developmentally. And some of the things that we focus on, like Healthy Families America, part of the model is what they call cheers, and that's to like promote the parent-child interaction, and each letter stands for a different interaction. And they also focus on like reading, singing, talking to the baby, and promote that throughout that early childhood years, as long as the families are involved. And the goal of Healthy Families is to prevent child abuse and neglect. And while families are enrolled in and participating in the Healthy Families program, we see a 99% prevention rate of those families that are enrolled and participating becoming involved with the child welfare system. So it's working, and we're working on, building up that capacity to serve more families, because we think it's a pretty great program. So so that's the end of what we have for you guys. Here is our contact information. We have a general mailbox where people can send questions or inquiries to. It's DCS prevention questions at dcs.in.gov. And then all of our contact information is listed below. The one that's not here, Hannah Robinson, she's the prevention manager. She's our leader. But yeah, feel free to reach out with any questions you might have, but we're excited to get this information out to you guys. And we can send you all the PowerPoint to disperse.
Thanks again for all this information. I did have a few follow-up items, but wanted to give David a chance. David, did you have anything that you wanted to ask or share before we conclude?
No, I agree. I think it's great information that we do need to get out. I made some notes here to talk to our nurse today just to make sure that, and I'm sure all of us are in that same space. So I do think if we can increase our communication opportunities together, then this will be a successful venture. So I appreciate the presentation.
I think both David and I, one of the reasons why we brainstormed with our colleagues here to share this information is because a lot of it, if not all of it, was new to us. And this isn't something. These are areas where we've worked in the education field that I thought I would have known about some of these really good resources. And I think part of the reason that they hear and I hear is that I think a lot of people assume that DCS, they're exclusively focused on the, in response to allegations of bad stuff, abuse and neglect. But as you can see here, they got a lot of resources to try to prevent it from getting to that point and well before that point. I do know that just because there is that association, DCS, there is maybe sometimes a stigma for families that want to get involved with these programs, even though they are preventative. Do you all have do you all deal with that? Do you have any suggestions for the school folks as they're maybe working with families, and maybe those families are apprehensive of, if I get involved with DCS, then that I might get in trouble or something like that? Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think that our prevention providers across the board are really good at handling that concern and talking with families about that. We're pretty separated from like DCS field and things like that. We know what's going on there, but our programs only connect when they need to, and it's obviously all of our providers are mandated reporters, but most of them go through all of those things during that initial meeting, letting them know that this is a DCS funded program, but not a DCS program. So they're pretty good about that separation and getting parents to understand that that they're there to help and not to harm.
Very good.
And just to add to reiterating that all the programs are voluntary, so the families can choose and they can choose.
Got it.
I think what Spencer
go ahead.
emphasizes that sorry, I wasn't sure if you could hear Spencer, but I think that what he was emphasizing is that that one thing we always do communicate is that they're voluntary programs.
Mm-hmm.
So that helps so the parents know that this isn't a requirement of DCS, that this is your choice and you help choose your goals.
Got it. One of the things that we've been supportive of in terms of prevention and early intervention is just early learning and childcare in general. What are your thoughts on how these programs that you shared collaborate with early learning and childcare programs?
I can say for community partners, part of what we call is their service standard. It's like their contract with us and it outlines what all they're required to provide. And they are required to keep a community resource guide for each county that they serve. So that's for resources for like early learning resources, maybe for utilities, whatever it may be. They have a list of all the resources in each community, and they are practiced in helping families fill out applications. So if they wanted to get connected to an early learning program, an On My Way pre-K, they would help the families through that application process. They would help them through the waitlist process or help them find a program that is available to them if there is a waitlist on the On My Way pre-K. So they're definitely specialized in knowing all the resources in the community and how to get families connected.
And as far as healthy families, I mean, we're really entrenched in that early childhood realm. We sit on multiple different like advisory boards regarding early childhood. Home visiting is recognized as being like under that umbrella. And I think that the focus of healthy families in general being that parent-child interaction, as well as monitoring for developmental delays and things like that, and connecting. That's part of the requirements too, is if something comes up on one of those ASQ screens, then they're required to connect those families to help. So typically first steps, but could be something different. So, and then they're there to support as well.
If you're a superintendent, a principal, and you're looking to improve, I suppose, the handoff that might be in the region, to have a better idea of maybe more information on students coming in as kindergartners, or even into pre-kindergarten, what would be your just general suggestion on how to improve those handoffs?
Can you kind of rephrase that?
Yeah. So, if you're a superintendent, a principal in your region, and that maybe you'd like to do a better job of getting more information about a kid, their background, things that would help you better understand them and how to better serve them in kindergarten. And it seems to me like some of these programs that you described and talked about today would have very good information to assist with that. What advice would you give to a school leader that wants to improve gathering of that information to better serve their incoming kindergartners?
I think just learning who is providing the programs in your area. So like who is doing those home visiting programs, what providers are there, and building that relationship with them. Build a relationship with WIC as well. Connected to that early on. Know who's providing your first steps in the area. And knowing who those people are will help being able to communicate with them. I mean, ultimately, it's going to be up to the families, whether the families would approve that communication, because there would have to be a release of information, but having those relationships and understanding what those providers are doing is going to be helpful. And they could also, we do like look at trends in areas, and they have to track data. So there could be something in the data that's helpful for schools coming in, for kids coming into kindergarten. So I build relationships. That's my advice.
And if you're at all in doubt as to who would be the first contact, what would be your suggestion, as a default?
I mean, you're always welcome to reach out to our DCS prevention questions mailbox. Spencer Mansat for us. He's fabulous at getting back to people. And if you're looking for an agency in your area, we can help connect you. We also, there's that community partners map that tells you agency contacts, and there's some like generic email addresses on there. There's also on the DCS prevention website a map for healthy families partners as well. That'll be updated soon, but because we have some changes, but minimal changes. So the map right now is fairly accurate. And if you reach out and something's different, then my suggestion would be to just email DCS prevention questions.
Very good. Well, before I conclude this recording, does anybody have anything else to share? Particularly, I guess, frequently asked questions that we didn't ask that you want to get ahead of? Last opportunity.
I would just say I would encourage the schools in the area of those family resource centers to reach out and connect with those agencies and be a part of that, because they're looking to better understand the communities, and I think schools always have a good idea of what's going on in that community and what families could benefit from. And so building that partnership with those family resource centers, I think is going to be very beneficial.
And you reminded me of one more question. If you're not in one of those areas that has one of those family resource centers that it's currently open or in the works, and you're really interested to help bring one to your community, do you have any suggestions?
Yeah.
I think I can help with that a little bit. For that one, there are communities that are already have similar concepts going on, or that do want one in their community. As far as the ones that are specifically funded by DCS prevention, we are kind of doing those in waves, and we're only on the first round. We see the community needs, and we're excited to get one everywhere where there's one that's needed. But there are already communities that are gathering and kind of forming their own funding and looking into the idea, which is awesome. They're looking into their community trust funds and things like that. So I would say get in touch with some of your community leaders who I know, like the libraries have been involved, some of the community foundations, and see if there's already been conversation going on in your community, and see what some of the local movement is there.
And if you have a child abuse prevention council, connect with them or your local Indiana child abuse.
Very good.
Mm-hmm.
Well, again, thanks again for everybody's sharing of information. Hopefully this is helpful to the field. And I know that this topic is at least related to almost all the different coalitions that we're a part of, in particular, in regards to child behavior, access to services to help with child behavior, as well as school and child safety. So if you're interested to get involved with those coalitions, please do reach out to us.
All right.